Teranga is a Canadian-based gold miner focused on West Africa, and it's in one of the hotter regions for gold right now. It's listed on the TSX, and it has a strong balance sheet, long life of mines, and nearly 4 million ounces of gold reserves. Teranga is on track to build the next multi-asset mid-tier gold producer in West Africa. Please join me in welcoming Paul.
Thank you. So the key here that I'm going to explain over the next number of slides is this is a very exciting story. It's taken us quite a bit of time to get where we are. We had an extremely successful 2017 year, and we're building the next multi-asset mid-tier producer in West Africa. So I will be making some forward-looking statements. So for anybody who wants to look at this, we will be posting this presentation on our website. So Teranga has been, since the IPO in 2010, in operation at Sabodala. The Sabodala mine has been in operation since 2009. It's a long life mine. It has 13 years of life. We've actually produced over 1.4 million ounces from this mine. It produces approximately 200,000 ounces a year. We also have a developing asset that we're in the middle of a construction called the Wahgnion project. And we have a very exciting exploration, advanced exploration that we're moving forward, and I'll get into some details there, called the Golden Hill exploration. In addition to that, we have some very exciting exploration early stage in Côte d'Ivoire. So we have a producing asset, we have a developing asset, we have an advanced stage exploration asset, and we have some far future exciting exploration opportunities. We have the full spectrum, and this is what makes Teranga an extremely exciting story. First off, 2017 was a banner year for Teranga. We achieved a record gold production of 233,000 ounces. We increased our reserves at Sabodala by 400,000 ounces, put out a new 43-101 life of mine plan. 5 years of solid production over 200,000 ounces in that updated 43-101. We announced a positive feasibility study for our Wahgnion project, which was formerly called the Banfora Gold Project. It has an initial reserves of 1.2 million ounces, and that's just a start point, and I'll explain some of the details on why we feel that's going to improve as time goes forward. We've accelerated rapidly our Golden Hill, and we've had a steady stream of positive results and expect that to continue for 2018. And we entered into a joint venture agreement on our FEMA land package, an extremely coveted ground by a number of majors in Côte d'Ivoire called the FEMA package. So 2017 was a banner year. 2018, we expect to continue to do so. I won't go any further without explaining our social license. Teranga has, this is our core value of ours. It's our social license to operate is something fundamental to who we are, how we grow, and it actually has assisted us significantly in our growth plan, not just in Senegal, but our reputation throughout West Africa. It's allowed us to get permits quickly in Burkina Faso to make the Griffin transaction, which is now the Wahgnion project. And it's also assisted us in Côte d'Ivoire to move forward and move into those exploration licenses. It's not just us saying this. We've had a number of external awards, including the prestigious 2017 PDAC Prospector Environmental and Social Responsibility Award. So we're very proud of this, and we have a cornerstone investor as well who is very committed to our social license. So this is a foundation of Teranga. I only have one slide on our producing asset because what we really want to talk about is our growth story. But this is a solid asset, has a 13-year mine life, has a track record of continually adding to reserves. Right at the moment, it's 2.7 million ounces reserves. Important is measured and indicated resources is 4.4 million ounces. And what's not shown here, over 1 million ounces of inferred resources. The next 5 years is an annual production of 213,000 ounces, lower than $900 per ounce all-in sustaining. Total free cash flow at $1,250 gold of $230 million. And the reason it's $1,250 gold is that's the value that we needed for our 43-101. As you can see, we have an extensive land package. The mine license is approximately 300 square kilometers. Those triangles are prospects that we're in the process of drilling and exploring. And then we have a very large exploration package, which is the area outlined in gray, and that's slightly less than 1,000 square kilometers. So solid producer, track record of adding to reserves, and we expect to continue to do so. Our second mine is in development now. We put out a feasibility last year, 1.2 million ounces. What's important here, though, is it's 1.8 million measured and indicated resources and 700,000 inferred. This was worked on by a junior that did a lot of drilling, a lot of RC drilling. We went and did a lot of diamond core drilling. And we feel that this is just the early stages of the economics of this project. But just through some of those numbers, for the first 5 years, 130,000 ounces. Total free cash flow of $300 million. Again, this is at $1,250 gold. All-in sustaining costs, very good, just slightly over $800. And then as we move forward, we expect to replace these reserves and continue to add. So what I want you to focus on is the 700,000 ounces of inferred. On this slide here, and this is just in concept, a lot of the drilling that was done in the past was RC drilling, and we needed to twin that with diamond core, map out the structures, and understand the geology. We made a substantial change to the way that the resource models were being built, and what that revealed is a lot of infill drilling was required just due to the spacing. So we've completed that drilling. That was 73,000 meters in 2017, and we're in the process of updating those resources to indicated status, to 700,000. And where they're located is right within these same resources. They're at depth and along strike, and then as we move forward, we expect to have about 25 to 50% of these resources converted to indicated, and then we'll have an updated 43-101 by mid-year with a new life of mine plan. The other thing that I'm actually just going to go back a slide here because I skipped over this. So from an operating standpoint at Sabodala, we're very good at mining high-grade, lode vein deposits near surface in oxide and at depth into the rock, multi-pit, optimizing our mine plan, and as well a relatively straightforward flow sheet. This is actually a carbon copy of the Sabodala mine. Our core skill set to be able to identify the resources, look at what the mining methods can be, match our reserves. We're consistently higher than our reserves estimate at Sabodala for the last 2 years. We expect that to continue here as well. And then lastly, once we get an updated life of mine plan by mid-year, we expect to continue to replace these reserves by a whole host of prospects that the Griffin exploration team identified but didn't have enough money to move forward with. But for the last 2 years, we've been focusing on the identified resources, and then we'll move forward. So Sabodala, long mine life, replacing reserves. Wahgnion, long line life, replacing reserves. And so for the next steps at the Wahgnion project, we're going to commence construction of the plant. Actually, in fact, it's imminent. It's within several weeks. We've been working for the last 6 months with an owner's team. We've built up the owner's team at site. We have Lycopodium constructing this project. They've been doing front-end engineering design since December. We've ordered all of our equipment, and we expect to have the first pour by the end of 2019. So in fact, we've been in a project build for a significant amount of time, and this is on track to have a first pour by the end of 2019. And then just some of the other milestones: updated reserves, continued exploration success, and so we expect this to continue to have solid economics. Sorry. So now I want to talk about what's probably going to move the stock price over this next course of year, because it's solid operating performance at Sabodala, on time, on schedule, executing on the construction build at Wahgnion. That's the focus of the operating team. But where is the real excitement is what's happening at Golden Hill. We've been moving this project very, very quickly over the past year. Last year we spent $7 million on drilling, and this year we'll be spending $8 million on drilling. In addition to that, we've secured financing so that we don't need to raise equity to move this project going forward of $25 million. This slide is almost becoming irrelevant because we've had so much success with Golden Hill. The project speaks for itself, but it is in a fantastic neighborhood. It's right in the heart of the Houndé Belt, a greenstone belt. Does have a number of mines, and you can just see them there. Roxgold Jaramoko, Semafo's Sioux Pit, Endeavour's Houndé, very similar geological signatures, but we've already proven that out, and we've had extremely good success with this project as it is. So just what Golden Hill actually is, it's a number of prospects that are in different stages of maturity. So what has been the primary area of focus for the last year or so has been the Moss Suite. We have done quite a bit of work on the Jackhammer Hill, and then in order of maturity, then we have what's called the A, B, and C zone. We have as well Peksu and Nahiri. So again, we've spent $7 million last year. We've been working hard over this quarter, and it's $8 million this year. And what you really see here is a signature that's going to start to come looking, we feel, like the Banfora or the Wanyan project, as I showed earlier, and the Sabodala, where it's high grade, near surface, multi-pit, feeding a central location. This radius on the outer one is only 5 kilometers, well within trucking distance. And this is high grade near surface. This is not at depth. And we've only been drilling to about 150 meters deep. We have a long way to go. These are all open along strike at depth, and we're really just trying to understand. So this has a long way to go before we're finished. We feel this is the most exciting project in West Africa and can compare to pretty much anywhere. So the next couple of slides is just a little bit of detail. You can see, I don't really have a pointer on here, but you can see where most of the drill hole located. That's our Ma main. We've just started to identify and delineate what's called the Ma North. And in just this area, what we'll call the Ma Suite, there's a south and an east. You can see the intercepts. It's very easy to identify. It's a mafic volcanic host with a felsic breccia. The exploration geologist can spot the ore zone from across the room. The signature is very straightforward at surface and a relatively straightforward dip. So we've been accelerating this extremely fast. This is 1.5 kilometers of strike length, and I would think most of that would actually be indicated status, and we're working through a resource estimate as we speak, and less or so on the north, and of course I haven't even included the south and the east, and that's just the Ma Suite. We've also been able to move forward on advancement on what we call the Jackhammer Hill, and that's a 1-kilometer-long strike length. Again, it's a mafic volcanic host with, in fact, it's a diorite ore zone, very good grades, and when I say very good, I'm actually saying extremely high grades, again, near surface. There is about a 200-meter strike length along trend, with grades in excess of 100 grams per ton. Obviously, we don't expect that to continue, but we're getting exceptionally high grades in some parts. So this is extremely exciting. And then just before I move on into Côte d'Ivoire, we have a number of the other prospects as well, the C zone that we just put out a press release last week, but it's so new we don't even have slides for it yet. So Golden Hill is moving very, very quickly. So lastly, we've got Sabodala producer. We've got Wanyan development in progress with adding of reserves with an update this year, and we have an exciting exploration project that's just moving forward, and we hope to move towards feasibility next year and beyond. And lastly, just looking at far future, we have some extremely exciting ground in Côte d'Ivoire. And Côte d'Ivoire has not really had the opportunity for exploration as Ghana has had, as Burkina Faso has had, and the Birimian Greenstone Belt within the political boundaries of Côte d'Ivoire is in fact the highest. So this is coveted ground by all the majors who operate, including ourselves. We were able to secure some exploration permits through our major shareholder, MIMRAM, which is MIMVest. And since that time, about 1.5 years ago, we've done some preliminary exploration work, stream sediment analysis, and actually we did get a 3 by 7 kilometer soil anomaly on down there. You see the Guitry permit. So we've just finished up the preliminary RC drilling at surface and somewhat into the host rock on this anomaly, and we'll be releasing those results by mid-year as well. And then just recently on the lower corner there, you see the Athena Prospect, and that has its own very exciting story. So the Athena resource has been worked on for over 20 years. It actually was a producing mine. It has a mine license and an ESIA permitted. It has 2 million ounces of a resource, but within the rock, it's a refractory resource. And so previous owners were having challenges to move this project forward. However, it's extremely exciting exploration ground, and within the mine license itself, it has significant potential. So we've entered into a joint venture earn-in with Sodom, which is a private company. And as we move this project forward, we expect to have excellent results. What's important to realize about this is there's a number of majors that were bidding for this once the previous owner went into receivership. The mines minister at Cote d'Ivoire put this out for a tender process and Teranga won. And the reason why we won, primarily we committed to move this forward. We have a good track record of doing that, but also we have a very strong social license. And the mines ministry in Cote d'Ivoire was very supportive of that. Just in terms of some of the technical, again, it's right within the Birimian Greenstone Belt, and you can see the border with Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana. And you see two of the greenstone belts, and you see the operating mines. And these are world-class operating mines, and they extend straight into the Athena Prospect. And even within itself, there's a number of granitic plutons within these greenstone belts. And so we feel the exploration package, in terms of where the next one after will be, this is very strong potential for that to be. We've committed to an $11 million 3-year exploration program and CSR development program for this project. So just in wrap-up, share price and what the valuation of Teranga is. We've done exceptionally well, but we think that we're going to be continuing with this story as we evolve into a mid-tier producer. So when you look at our production profile once after 2019, the Wahgnion and the Sabodala project is in operation. That will be a 350,000 ounce producer. As I mentioned before, we'll be continuing to add to reserves. We have a reserve update mid-year in Wahgnion, so those purple bars, those will actually continue going forward, we expect. And so solid producer, and then when we add, we're not replacing reserves as some of the majors would be. We're adding to our overall production profile. And one of the reasons why we've done exceptionally well this year is we've shown the market on how we're going to finance and execute on this. There was some concern that we would need to dilute our shareholders to be able to do this, and we will not, and that's clear now. But just in terms of some of the numerics, 88 million in cash flow, 88 million on our balance sheet at the end of 2017. We expect to generate 90 million in cash flow from the Sabodala project, and this is in US dollars. That's at $1,250 gold. That doesn't include the fact that we've secured at $1,340 for the next 7 quarters, $1,340 an ounce, 50% of our production out of Sabodala. We've secured $165 million debt facility, which is sufficient with all those together to build the Wahgnion project. And what's not shown on this slide is as we move Golden Hill towards feasibility, we have $25 million to put that together. So we're solid financial, and to move Wahgnion into production and to develop to feasibility of Golden Hill, we will not need to dilute our shareholders. And if you take a look at the graph on the right, we've done exceptionally well because we've shown the market that we can execute, that we have an excellent story, and that's why. But if you take a look at on the next couple of slides, we still feel that we're well undervalued and we're in the middle of a re-rate. So I will take this time to go through our shareholders. We're primarily institutionally owned. You can see the shareholder list there, but what's really important is our cornerstone shareholder. The Tableau Corporation is the Mimran Group. They're the largest private employer in Senegal and in Cote d'Ivoire. They've been there for generations. They are extremely supportive of our growth strategy. It's part of their growth strategy as well. And they're also, the reason why they like Teranga and we've joined and moved forward together is because they really like our strong social license. So the news flow. So we're going to have continued news going all the way through 2018. As I mentioned before, the Golden Hill, $8 million this year. Steady stream of news flow this past quarter, continue to go through for the rest of the year as we move forward and develop those prospects. The Wahgnion will have a reserves update and then execution on the development of the project, all towards the first pour towards the end of 19. Cote d'Ivoire, we finished the drilling at Guitry, plus Athena results. We'll be putting some of those going forward through the year. And then, of course, production excellence at Sabodala. So we think, despite the fact that we've done exceptionally well, we still have a low ratio because our ratio against our peers, even as a single asset producer, is slightly low when you take a look at our enterprise value against our reserves, or you take a look at our earnings against our EBITDA, against our peers. We're still ranked low. And then even just without that, as we move to a mid-tier producer and we've shown the market, we'll be moving to a better multiple. And that's actually why you're seeing the share price go now already, even in the last several weeks. And then just in summary, and another way that you do the evaluation just from simple math, you take a look at our total reserves, which is just under 4 million. You use the current price, or slightly below current price, at $1,300. And this is in US dollars. We're at 358 as of the 9th of April. We're slightly higher than that now. You take a look at our reserves at Wahgnion, and again, that was just a first pass. Look at our balance sheet and the 88 million that we had in cash at the end of 2017, not even including Golden Hill potential and some of these other things that will improve the overall value of the company. We should be valued at $6. So we think we're an excellent value story, and despite the fact that we've had a lot of gains lately, we still have a long way to go to get to our fair value. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Does anyone have any questions? I have one, Paul. I mean, at this stage in the company's development, the M&A question must start to come up. So are you actively looking? What's happening on that front?
It does. Well, our growth story is so good organically, and we're adding so much value with Golden Hill, with executing at Sabodala, adding to our balance sheet, positive margins at Sabodala. We're not looking for M&A. That being said, that's maybe sometimes the best time to make a deal is when you don't actually need to. So if there's something exceptional that comes up, we may do that evaluation. But right now, our story is so good, it's about executing, and we will not dilute our shareholders.
Thank you very much, Paul, for getting things rolling here today. Thank you.